Today we discuss about authorization concept in laravel. In this we have main topics like introduction, gates, creating policies, writing policies, authorizing actions using policies, authorization and inertia. And we have subtopics like writing gates, authorizing actions, gate responses, integrating gate checks, inline authorization, generating policies, registering policies, policy methods, policy responses, methods without models, guest users, policy filters, via the user model, via the gate facade, via middleware, via blade templates, supplying additional context. These are the these are all the topics and main topics and subtopics in authorization topic in Laravel. And let's see uh, one by one the introduction part. So, in addition to providing built-in authentication services, Laravel also provides a simple way to authorize user actions against a given resource. Laravel provides two primary ways of authorizing actions. Those are gates and policies. Gates. Gates are a great way to provide, which will provide the authorization services which will receive the user instance as their first argument and may optionally receive additional arguments such as relevant eloquent model. So gates are simply closures that determine if a user is authorized to perform a given action. So this is a definition of gates. Gates are simply closures that determine if a user is authorized to perform a given action. And we have a method called define. So with this we can define the authorization. And also like controllers, gate may also be defined using a class callback array. Syntax will be like this: gate double colon define update post policy double colon class comma update. Now we see how do we authorize actions by making use of gate. We will be using gate facade and it is having different methods like allows and denies method. So allows method will be like this: gate double colon allows update post comma dollar post. Within that we will be writing our business logic. And next we see denies. So it will be same the syntax like gate double colon denies update post comma dollar post. Like this we will be using allows and denies method on gate facade. And also we are having for user method. So if you would like to determine if a user other than the currently authenticated user is authorized to perform an action, we may use the for user method on the gate facade. We may authorize multiple actions at a time using the any or none methods. methods will be like this. Get double colon any update post, comma delete post, comma dollar post. This is the closure. And next one is the none method. Get double colon none, update post, comma delete post, comma dollar post. So here the user can't update or delete the post. Like this we'll be using any method and none method. Now we see authorizing or throwing exceptions. If you would like to attempt to authorize an action and automatically throw an authorization exception, if the user is not allowed to perform the given action, we may use the get packets authorize method. Instances of authorization exception are automatically converted to a 403 HTTP response by laravel. The syntax will be like this: get double colon authorize update hyphen post comma dollar post. And now we see supplying additional context. The get methods for authorizing abilities allows, denies, check, any, none, authorize, can, cannot. These are all the get methods, and the authorization blade directives at the rate can, at the rate cannot, at the rate can any, can receive an array as their second argument. Comma, these array elements are passed as parameters to the gate closure and can be used for additional context when making authorization decisions. Like this, we'll be using the check method and define method and all of other gate methods like allow, tennis, any, none, authorize, can, cannot, like this. Now we see gate responses. So if we want to return a more detailed response, including an error message, so we may return an illuminate auth access response from our gate. Access response. So it will be like this. The namespace class will be like this. Use illuminate auth access response. So on that we will be using methods like allow and deny. So get, define, edit settings, comma, function, user, dollar user, return dollar user hyphen, arrow is admin, response allow, response deny. So like this we will be using the syntax. So even if we want to return an authorization response from our gate, so the get allows method will still return a simple boolean value. We may use the get double colon inspect method to get the full authorization response returned by the gate. So in order to get the full authorization response, we will be using the inspect method. The syntax will be like this: dollar response equal to get double colon inspect edit settings. So when using the get double colon authorize method, which throws an authorization exception, if the action is not authorized, the error message provided by the authorization response will be propagated to the HTTP response. So it will be like this: get double colon authorize of edit settings. The action is authorized. Now we see customizing the HTTP response status. So for this we will be using uh, deny with status method. So the syntax will be like this: response double colon deny with status of 404. Because hiding resources via a 404 response is such a common pattern for web applications, the deny as not found method is offered for convenience. So the method will be like this: response double colon deny as not found. Now we see intercepting get checks. So for this we will be using before method. So if we want to grant all abilities to a specific user. So we may use the before method to define a closure that is run before all other authorization checks. And we may use after method to define a closure to be executed after all other authorization checks. So for this we will be using after method. So the syntax will be like this: get double colon after function dollar user string dollar ability bool null dollar result mixed arguments. So like this we will be using the after method. Now we see inline authorization. So if we want to determine the currently authenticated user is authorized to perform a given action without writing a dedicated gate that corresponds to the action. So then Laravel allows us to perform these types of inline authorization checks via the get double colon allow if and get double colon deny if methods. So if we want to perform inline authorization checks, so we will be using allow if, deny if methods. Creating policies. So before that we will see if the action is not as authorized or if no user is currently authenticated, Laravel will automatically throw and eliminate auth access authorization exception. So the class name itself, authorization exception, the exception name itself. So instances of authorization exception are automatically converted to a 403 HTTP response by Laravel's exception handler. All the exceptions are automatically converted to a 403 HTTP response by Laravel's exception handler. Now we see creating policies. Generating policies. So policies are classes that organize authorization logic around a particular model or resource. Policies are classes that organize authorization logic around a particular model or a resource. If it is get, so it will be taken as a closure set of resources. But here policy means a particular resource or model. So like these policies are classes that organize authorization logic around a particular model or resource. So we may generate a policy using the make colon policy artisan command. So the generated policy will be placed in the app slash policies directory. So if this directory does not exist in our application, Laravel will create it for us. PHP, the command will be like this: PHP artisan make colon policy post policy. So the make colon policy command will generate an empty policy class. So if you would like to generate a class with example policy methods related to viewing, creating, updating and deleting the resource, we may provide a hyphen model option when executing the command. So command will be like this: PHP artisan make colon policy post policy hyphen model equal to post. Registering policies. So we will be using uh, policy discovery concept now. So for that registering policies, first of all we will see policy discovery. We will be making use of guess policy name using method. So this is a method name on get packet. Get double colon guess policy name using method. So if you would like to define our own policy discovery logic, so we may register a custom policy discovery callback using this method, get double colon guess policy name using method. So typically this method should be called from the boot method of our application's app service provider. Manually registering policies. So we will be using policy method. So using the gate packet, so we may manually register policies and their corresponding models within the boot method of our application's app service provider. So like this, by making use of policy method, we will be registering policies manually. Get double colon policy of order class comma order policy double colon class. Like this. Now we see writing policies. I see policy methods within the writing policies. So we will be making use of update method, so which will receive a user example and a push instance as its arguments, and it should return true or false, indicating whether the user is authorized to update the given post. So once the policy has been registered, we may add methods for each action it authorizes. We may continue to define additional methods on the policy as needed for the various actions it authorizes. So, if we used the hyphen model option when generating our policy via the artisan console, so it will already contain methods for the view any, view, create, update, delete, restore, and force delete actions. All policies are resolved via the laravel service container, allowing us to type hint any needed dependencies in the policies constructor to have them automatically injected. Policy responses. So we will be using response instance from our policy method. So if the policy methods that return simple boolean values, so we will be using that allow and deny methods on the response class. When returning an authorization response from our policy, the get double colon allows method, it will still return a boolean value. However, we may use the get double colon inspect method to get the full authorization response returned by the get. When using the get double colon authorize method, which throws an authorization exception, if the action is not authorized, the error message will be provided by the authorization response will be propagated to the HTTP response. Customizing the HTTP response status, so we will be using deny with status method, which we have already discussed, and also we will be using deny as not found method because hiding resources via 404 response is such a common pattern for web applications. The deny as not found method is offered for the convenience. Now we see methods without models. Some policy methods only receive an instance of the currently authenticated user. So this situation is most common when authorizing create actions. So if we are creating a blog, we may wish to determine if a user is authorized to create any posts at all. So in these situations, the policy method should only expect to receive a user instance. Return type will be bool. Public function create user $user double colon bool. So return $user role equal to writer. Guest users. By default, all gates and policies automatically return false if the incoming HTTP request was not initiated by an authenticated user. So we may allow these authorization checks to pass through to our gates and policies by declaring an optional type hint or supplying a null default value for the user argument definition. So we will be using syntax question mark before uh, user model or resources. So syntax will be like this: public function update question mark user dollar user comma post dollar post. Like this, we'll be using the guest users. Policy filters. We may wish to authorize all actions within a given policy. So if we want to authorize all actions within a given policy, to accomplish this, we will be defining a before method on the policy. The before method will be executed before any other methods on the policy, giving us an opportunity to authorize the action before the intended policy method is actually called. So this feature is most commonly used for authorizing application administrators to perform any action. So if you would like to deny all authorization checks for a particular type of user, then we may return false from the before method. So if null is returned, the authorization check will fall through to the policy method. The before method of a policy class will not be called if the class does not contain a method with a name matching the name of the ability being checked. Now we see authorizing actions using policies. Authorizing actions using policies. So we will be having different concepts like via the user model and actions that don't require models via the gate facade, via middleware, via blade templates, supplying additional context. So like this we will be having authorizing actions using policies. First of all, we see via the user model. The app models user model that is included with our Laravel application includes two helpful methods for authorizing actions: can and cannot. The can and cannot methods receive the name of the action we wish to authorize and the relevant model. So let's determine if a user is authorized to update a given app model's post model. So typically this will be done within a controller method. Actions that don't require models. So some actions may correspond to policy methods like create that do not require a model instance. So in these situations, we may pass a class name to the can method. Via the gate facade, authorizing actions via the gate facade. So in addition to helpful methods provided to the app model user model, we can always authorize actions via the gate packets authorize method. So till now we have seen can, cannot methods, default methods provided by the user model, and this is the third method via the gate packet, which is the authorize method, which will be used to authorize actions. Authorizing the actions using policies. Now we see actions that don't require models. So some policy methods like create do not require a model instance. So we should pass a class name to the authorize method. So the class name will be used to determine which policy to use when authorizing the action. The syntax will be like this: get double colon authorize create comma post double colon class. So like this we will be using the get facade. Now we see via middleware authorizing actions using policies via the middleware. So laravel includes a middleware that can authorize actions before the incoming request even it reaches our routes or controllers. So by default, the illuminate auth middleware authorized middleware may be attached to a route using the ken middleware alias, which is automatically registered by laravel in bootstrap slash app.php. So let's explore an example of using the can middleware to authorize that user can update a post. So it will be like this: route double colon put post parameter post function post user model post dollar post comma and the middleware can colon update comma post. So update comma post are parameters to the can middleware. So like this we'll be using can middleware in order to authorize actions using policies. Actions don't require model. So we will be using some policy methods like create do not require a model instance. So in these situations we will pass a class name to the middleware. So directly we will be using class name in order to authorize actions. So middleware can create comma app slash models slash post. Like this we will be using uh, middleware can middleware and to that we will be passing the parameter like class name post class name. Specifying the entire class name within a string middleware definition can become cumbersome. So for this reason, we may choose to attach the ken middleware to our root using ken method. So directly we can attach the entire class name by making use of ken method. Route double colon post URI comma closure and to that ken method create comma post double colon class. Here we are not using middleware method. Directly we will be using ken method. Middleware ken middleware is different and here ken method is different. So to the ken method we are passing entire class as a parameter. Via blade templates. When writing blade templates, so we may wish to display a portion of the page only if the user is authorized to perform a given action. So we may wish to show an update from our blog post only if the user can actually update the post. In this situation, we may use the at the rate of can and at the rate of cannot directives. So these directives are convenient shortcuts for writing if and unless statements. The can and cannot statements above are equivalent to the following statements. For if auth user can update comma dollar post unless auth user can update comma dollar post. So like this we will be using if and unless statements. Shortcuts for if and unless statements by making use of can and cannot statements. We may also determine if a user is authorized to perform any action from a given array of actions. So to accomplish this, we will be using data can any directive. Actions that don't require models. So we will be using can and cannot directives. Supplying additional context. When authorizing actions using policies, so we may pass an array as a second argument to the various authorization functions and helpers. The first element in the array will be used to determine which policy should be invoked, while the rest of the array elements are passed as parameters to the policy method and can be used for additional context when making authorization decisions. So we will be using these two parameters. When attempting to determine if the authorized user can update a given post, we can invoke this policy method like so get double colon authorize update comma dollar post comma dollar request category. Authorization and inertia. Although authorization must always be handled on the server, so it can often be convenient to provide our front-end application with authorization data in order to properly render our application's UI. If we are using one of the Laravel's inertia-based starter kits, our application already contains a handle inertia requests middleware. So within this middleware's share method, we may return shared data that will be provided to the all the inertia pages in our application. This shared data can serve as a convenient location to define authorization information for the user. Like this, we will be using handle inertia requests middleware, which extends middleware class, and we will be having share method. Like this, we will be authorizing uh, inertia based front end pages, inertia pages in our application. So this is all about authorization concept in Laravel. Thank you so much. This is Universal Horse Star Ravindar reddy yampalla. Thanks to all of my fans, supporters, and followers, and special thanks to all of my YouTube subscribers. Thank you so much.